When you're pricing your work, you really have to do your homework. You have to see what other artists, see how other artists are pricing their work. If you're just starting out, when I was starting out, I priced my work quite low, just because I was starting out, and I'd rather have a sale than not. And I wasn't necessarily having gallery shows and that kind of thing. But then as the years went by, I raised the prices of my work. And I think this is very true for anybody doing open studios. See what other people are doing. If you're a painter, look at its size, is important. If you're doing small work, that's one thing. Larger works, of course, command higher prices. In photography, there are standard pricing, but it also has to do with your growth as an artist. I mean, did you study? How long have you been making art? Have you had a lot of sales? Do you have a following? And if you're starting to sell work at a gallery, you have to respect those prices and sell the work that you would normally sell at a gallery. I mean, you can say open studio special and things like that. But if you sold something for $500, for example, or $1,000, you don't want to mark it way down, because then what if somebody comes in who had previously bought your work at a gallery and sees similar work at that price? It's disrespectful of the gallery and the artist too. You want to respect those prices and keep them pretty consistent.
I think that all prices should be able to be seen. If it's, in a bin, you can price on the back, or you can even have a sign on the bin that says prices are on the back of the pieces. If it's wall art, in my case, I put prices right underneath. And with my jewelry and my cases, there's a price on just about everything.
So when you put your art up on the wall, it's accompanied with all the rest of your art. And sometimes when someone is interested in a piece and they're not quick to say they're ready to buy it, what I'll do is I'll move it from the wall. I'll say, I noticed that you're looking at this piece. Why don't I just move it away from the wall and put it on maybe like a table easel, which I have in my studio, if it fits, and place it on that and separate it so it's alone with you or the client and the art, and it becomes a lot more personal. Now, let me also say regarding the discounts, this isn't that common, but it does happen, and it's just something that you need to be ready for. So it's not like I'm giving away discounts, because I'm not, but you just have to be ready for it, because some people will ask for it. Most people don't.
If somebody is really hemming, I will say, you can choose one of my prints. I would love to gift that to you, or one of my drawings. I have things that are available. And people really like that, because I would say, and I don't think it's the same for all of us here, that people in years to come would be much happier to say the artist gifted this to me, this other piece of artwork, than I got 10% off. And I think that that's part of like building this relationship with your clients.
Are they going to pay cash? Are they going to pay by check? Or are they going to pay by credit card? If they pay by credit card, you're going to have the facility to take the credit card information. And if so, then also be aware that you will be charged a service charge on that transaction as well by the provider, like Square as an example. So you take that into consideration as well. But credit cards are very easy, and it's a really quick sale. People are very willing to pull out that card and give it to you. Checks, I will take checks. Always take checks. Pricing and negotiating, it's a really interesting dynamic between the client and the artist. But the more you do it, the better you are at doing it, and the more satisfied you are with the end result.
Open studios is not just about sales. Not everybody sells work at open studios. And I think, we're talking a lot about sales, and it's great. It's definitely a part of it. But, you know, if you don't sell anything, it doesn't mean it was a failure. You have to remember that, you know, it takes time to build up a clientele, build up your history. And if you don't sell something, you've gained, you know, you're showing your work. You know, maybe you finished a body of work, you cleaned up the studio, you did all these other things around your art to show it. So those, for me, are really important parts of Open Studio. Sales are wonderful, of course, we all want to sell, but it's about making contacts. It's about exposing your work to the general public, finishing work, finishing something on a deadline, and getting it out there in the world. And it's good experience, especially when you're first starting out, to know how to present your work. And so, to me, that's almost important as making a sale.